All right, ladies, this is Alex from mindfulattraction.org. So, I got two videos coming for you guys today. The first one is going to be 5 reasons why you don't love yourself. Okay. A lot of us walk around with a lot of self-hatred. And we don't understand that we walk around with self-hatred because we keep distracting ourselves from those thoughts that reveal to us our actual relationship that we have with ourselves. In actuality, rather than actually going into the source, we tend to externalize it. It's kind of like when you're pissed off at yourself for fucking up. Let's say that you somehow forgot to hand in your timesheet late for your job and you didn't get paid. You're mad at yourself, but because you can't really be as mad at yourself as you want to, somebody does something and it pisses you off, and then you get angry at them. That's an externalization of your own anger that you have towards yourself, and you're counter transferring it to somebody else. All right. So we're gonna go over five reasons why you don't love yourself, and with some possible solutions. All right. So let's get started. And look, this is very important because without knowing that you don't love yourself, you can't really find a solution as to why you keep walking around all bitter and angry at the world. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of people think they love themselves because they keep flattering themselves, getting compliments, feeling good. But feeling good is not loving yourself. Like, getting compliments is not loving yourself, or buying yourself stuff is not loving yourself. None of that's loving yourself. You see? And so I'm gonna show you what it is to really love yourself. And it's like in a lot of things in this channel, it's counterintuitive it is counterintuitive, right? So let's get started. So the first one is judging yourself based on superficial social standards. Society has a way of judging others based on tangible things. We value what's temporary and shiny. This value differs according to the genders. Men are valued by status, women are valued by looks and youth. But these value systems aren't just psychological, but they are actual emotional reactions. When we believe in this value system, we begin to see that we fall short of those standards. You see, if, like, for example, as a guy, we see that the pinnacle of success is getting the beautiful girl, and most guys that get the beautiful girl are either successful men who are big and strong and who have a lot of money. So we tend to equate happiness and the pinnacle of success with getting a girl, and also having the external signs of confidence and happiness. So then we judge ourselves, and then we see, holy shit, I don't have those qualities. And then before we approach the girl, we get nervous because we already judged ourselves. We were saying, you know what, I don't fit those standards. And the reason why you don't fit those standards is because you're choosing to use those standards as your own measuring stick. You see? When we believe in this value system, we begin to see that we fall short of those standards. So we try hard to meet them. You try hard to get a better job, to get more muscular, And in women's sense, you try harder, you try to improve your looks, you try to maintain your youth, And so you try to chase the guy, validate the guy, give him sex. No, fuck that. I'm not playing around in this video. We all try to do that, right? And that's all because we want to feel better about ourselves, because we think that, okay, if giving him attention is not working, let me give him more attention. Maybe that'll work. You see? So since this value system isn't based on our inner workings and what's going on inside of you, we begin to seek for external signs of validation. They never really fulfill you on the inside. They just appear to fulfill you. You see? And that in and of itself is enough for some people. Why? Because the only thing they need is not actual fulfillment, but the illusion of fulfillment through having the smiles, posting that picture. Like it's kind of like this. You ready? You're sad. Take a picture. Sad. Picture time. Sad. Like, it's all little moments that's not really there. It's kind of like North Korea, the way that Kim Jong some shit got people to North Korea, where he made fake houses and it looked nice, and they were like, oh my god, look, North Korea is nice, let's move there. And they moved in there and they found out that it was empty. There was nothing there. And that's the same thing with most people. On the outside, they look nice, but on the inside, they're empty. And it's not because they cannot fulfill themselves, but because they were led to believe that focusing on the outside is the only thing you need. And this is not difficult. All you really have to do is commit yourself to focusing on the inside. You see, focusing on finding true value from the inside. This causes so they never really fulfill you on the inside. They just appear to fulfill you. So as a result, they walk around in the world feeling like they were wronged because they gave and they never got in return. You see, this causes self-hatred and shame. You begin to hate yourself because you don't meet those standards. I wasn't born this way. But what way? the way that the way that the media says, oh, so you're using those standards to judge yourself. You see, but little do you know that this is a game that's rigged against you. It's not here to make you happy, but to promote consumerism. You see, this game is not here to actually help you find yourself, to help you find who you really are. It's here to help you keep spending. You see, yeah, feel good about these shoes. Buy these shoes. It's going to make you feel good, like I said earlier today. And then they buy it, and guess what happens? They want more and more and more, and it never stops. That's consumerism. Judging yourself based on superficial social standards. The second one, you're too identified with your mind. This is a big one. All right, let me connect my laptop so it doesn't die. Identification with the mind means selectively choosing certain memories and thoughts and creating an identity out of them. So when I'm talking about being identified with your mind, is that anything that arises in your conscious awareness, you say that's me. You say that's what's wrong with me. You see, like your mind says, man, this is why I am not this. This is why I am not that. You see, your mind says you should get this to be happy. Oh man, you should get him to be happy. And so you listen to those to your mind consistently. So anything that your mind says that you need, you believe in it without questioning it. You see? And so your mind starts telling you, maybe you should get that. Hey, this is why you're not happy. And so you begin to believe it. The mind is a liar. You see, the mind is only here to help you survive, not to help you be happy. So what you have to learn is to take a step back and observe the mind. Because if you don't, what's going to happen? There's a lot of very, very low, how can I say this? The mind has a way of talking high and low. You see, there are conscious thoughts. I should get this, I should get that occur. Then there are very low voiced unconscious thoughts that arises that you just don't notice because they're so quick and because it's such a habit. For example, like watching television and seeing an ad for, I don't know, like, let me give you an example for me. For example, it's kind of like saying, it's like when I used to see a guy with a beautiful girl, I used to see her and it was like, oh man, I would be so happy when I get her, right? That's something that's unconscious. Like I don't really notice that. But what tends to arise in my conscious mind is, man, I would love to have her. But underneath that thought, it says, I wish I could have her so I could be happy. You see? And so if you don't notice your little soliloquies that you're having with yourself, they're going to hypnotize you into believing that. And the way it does is that an emotion arises of unfulfillment, and rather than focusing on the quiet sound, which is I wish I could, I need her, I want that girl to be happy, you listen to the smoke screen, to the distraction that the mind gives you, so that you don't really see what's going on, which is, man, I just want that girl and she's hot. You see, so you think you just want her, but in reality, what you really want is to be happy. So what you have to do then is to begin to simply observe your mind creating those storylines. Observe your mind creating those little lies telling you, hey, you should get that to be happy. Hey, you should get that to be happy. And not act on it, but just simply listen. Not listen as though you're listening to a radio. You know when you're listening to a radio, you just listen to the radio, right? You're just listening to it. You see? Like, it's kind of like there's a difference between listening to somebody talk about you and listening to the radio. When you're listening to a radio, you just, interesting. So when your mind is talking, feel as though you're listening to a radio. Become vigilant of your mind. Notice the thoughts that arises. Notice how certain emotions produces certain thoughts. Notice whenever you feel an emotion, notice the thoughts that arises from those emotions. And by simply noticing, you're going to be able to free yourself from your mind-made prison. You see, and that's why a lot of people don't have self-love, because they don't really know that they're telling themselves a lot of negative things, but it's masquerading as I just want this or that. When in reality, you're just saying, I don't want to notice who I really am. I don't want to confront my pain. I don't want to accept the fact that I am this or that. So rather than that, I'll externalize it in an attempt to distract myself. See, number 3, non-forgiveness. Non-forgiving is judging yourself too harshly. You must realize that your body is trying its best to protect you. You have to have compassion with yourself and love your brain for trying to make you happy. This will help you take a step back and see things for what they are. We make a lot of mistakes in life. You see, in life, we make a lot of mistakes. In life, it's inevitable that we make mistakes. In life, it's inevitable that we lose control of things, that we cannot control ourselves, that we will continually keep repeating mistakes. Every person who you think is mentally strong continues to make the same mistakes at one area or the other. So that's a normal thing. The problem is that the image that's being projected in the world is that the best people in the world don't make mistakes. See, this is why I try my best I try my best to take away to help you guys understand that I am a normal person, that I am someone who suffers, that I am someone who goes through stuff. Like I'm a normal person, because if you guys see me as this divine, awesome guru, then you guys are gonna say, oh, he's just like that because he's special. And so it's good for marketing. It's good for making more money, saying how I meditate every day and I don't go through shit, right? But it's not good for helping you guys out. And that's not my main priority. My main priority is actually helping you guys have an impact on having some change. You see, so what you have to do then is realizing that judging yourself is a normal thing. Your brain is gonna feel bad for fucking up. Your brain is gonna feel bad when it makes mistakes. You see? So what you have to do when that arises is actually have compassion for yourself. See yourself and just have compassion for yourself fucking up. You see? Because if you don't have compassion for yourself, like what I mean by compassion is that you got to understand that your brain is like a little kid. For example, it's kind of like playing sports. When you're playing basketball, learning how to play basketball, you are going to struggle learning how to shoot the rock. You are going to struggle learning how to have a good release. But you have to stick with it, not because you can't, but because your body needs patience from you. Your body is going to learn. It's going to learn. You just have to live. You just have to give it time. So when you fuck up, when you made a mistake, you got to stop saying, I fucked up, but rather realize that your body tried its best. Smile at your body. Feel the judgment as though it's a little kid telling you, Daddy, I'm sorry. And you're telling the kid, hey, look, man, it's okay, man. It's all right. Nothing wrong, man. I'll fuck you up later on. Don't worry, man. I'll get the belt when we get home. Oh, no, I'm kidding. No, but seriously, like when you fuck up, just look at your body and say, you know, it's cool, man. I know you tried your best. I know you didn't have negative intentions. It's okay. And have compassion for your body. And so what you're going to notice is that self-forgiveness naturally arises from them. But if you don't have compassion for yourself, then that just means that you're not, how can I say it? That just means that you're focusing, you're focusing too much on the mistakes, but rather on the learning process, realizing that it's an actual learning process. It's something that takes time. You see? So actually just just literally have compassion for yourself. Like, oh, you know what? You try your best, body. It's okay, dude. It's okay. And you actually smile. You see, you actually smile. Feel as though your body is a little kid who tried his best and is trying to make his parents happy and he can't. And you tell him, you know what? It's cool, man. It's all right, bro. I got you, homie. I got you. All right. Number 4, trying too hard to be happy. I've been talking about this lately this week. And that's because, again, a lot of the stuff that I talk about is always prevalent in my life. I don't just talk about it because it arises, but I talk about it because it's an actual need of mine. All right. When you try too hard to be happy, you get frustrated. You see, when you're not happy, and as a result, you get frustrated when you're not happy, when you try too hard. And mind you, happiness is a function of expectations. Keep them low. As a result, you work harder to be happy. You see, this effort is where your suffering begins. Real happiness is accepting your happiness and allowing it to be there until it leaves. Let me give you an analogy. It's kind of like, I always give this analogy, but it's because it's so perfect because we're all been there. It's kind of like being late to work. You're late to work and you're in traffic and you can't move. It's 9:50 and you were supposed to be at work at 9. It's traffic, it's not moving, and you're frustrated and you're angry. You see? So what's the point of the anger? The anger gives you some form of control. You see? It gives you some form of control. So what tends to happen is that even though nothing's happening, you feel like you have control. But the problem, that's where the suffering is. You see? Because you're already late to work. There's nothing you can do about it. Why are you frustrated? So accepting your unhappiness is literally saying, you know what? I'm late to work. So there's nothing I can do about it. So fuck it, man. Let me just put the music up. You're already late to work. The situation hasn't changed. You can't change it. You tried, but you can't. So what are you going to do? You're just going to be like, all right, then I guess I'm stuck here. Right? And you just, when you just don't give a fuck anymore, you're like, you know what? I'm really late, so fuck it. Let me just drop it. Like that. That's what we're talking about. Right? It's not giving up, but you trying your best. And when you notice that limit, you say, you know what? There's nothing else I could do. You see? So what tends to happen is that's where you're able to let go. So what I've been practicing this whole weekend has actually been working. And I don't feel as depressed as I used to. It's saying, am I trying to be happy right now? And then noticing, you don't answer it with your thoughts. You just answer it with awareness. You're just looking. You just look. Look if you're trying to be happy. And if you notice it, or then ask yourself, what would it feel like if I just stopped trying to be happy for 1 minute? Just for 1 minute. Not 2 minutes, 10 minutes, just 1 minute. And then just do it. Like, I'm allowing myself to feel pain for 1 minute completely. Just because it's 1 minute, I'll be able to do it with more attention. And what tends to happen is that you feel as though your senses light up. You're like, it's like the weight comes out of you. You still feel the pain, but that thing that is uncomfortable leaves. And it's a powerful thing. It's a beautiful thing, I'm telling you. It's a beautiful thing, you see. So trying to be happy will cause you to hate yourself when you're not happy. You're going to say, damn, you see, I'm just not a happy person. And you begin to judge yourself, label yourself. And when you judge and label yourself, and that's when you begin to have an identity, right? You say, oh man, I'm not happy. I'm just not a happy person. Boom. Then you start remembering times when you were unhappy, and you start saying, see, I'm not unhappy. Remember that one time? Remember that one time? You remember that one time? And so what tends to happen is that the brain is going to begin saying, yeah, you're right. All right. And then your brain's going to be like, yeah, you're right. I'm not unhappy. So it's going to begin to look for more evidence. It's kind of like a gravitational force where the more mass it amasses, like a planet, the more mass, the more gravitational pull it has. So the more thoughts you identify with, the more thoughts are going to gravitate towards that negative vortex of negativity. You see, so what you have to do is identify it, observe it, stop trying to be happy, and just I'm just gonna allow myself to be unhappy for 1 minute. I'm just gonna stop trying to be happy for 1 minute, and notice what happens. Number 6, compartmentalizing yourself. When you compartmentalize yourself, that means that we don't want to think about the bad things about us, but only about the good. You see. It's kind of like writing a biography. I can promise you that if I write a biography, I'm not talking about times I took money from kids. I'm not going to talk about the time when I took a kid's lollipop and all that stuff. No, I'm talking about the times when I was an angel. I'm talking about the times when I was good. That's what people do. People only want to notice the good things about themselves and neglect the bad. This is what tends to happen is that when you neglect the bad, it's not that you change people's perception of you, but that you make a bigger deal of the bad things about you. For example, it's kind of like a problem. It's kind of like lying. There are problems that really aren't problems unless you make a big deal out of it and you lie. You see, there are times when you wouldn't get caught from a crime if you didn't make a big deal out of it. For example, if you're stealing a book, rather than trying to steal, acting like you stole the book, you see? For example, like it's kind of like one time I took a book by mistake, right? By mistake. And because I took the book by mistake, I walked out the library and nobody caught me, right? And so, but when I was younger, I stole the book, and because I stole the book, I made a big deal out of it. I was like, I was like this, right? I walked around, because I made a big deal out of it. They caught me, right? And so it's not that your negative traits are bad, but when you hide them, it's not that people are going to think bad about you, but that your brain is going to say, this is not good. If you're suppressing it, that means this is not good. So then you're going to begin to have emotional reactions to that emotions, because you're putting a lot of effort to suppress it, which is to say not trying to think about it, or only trying to notice the good things about yourself, or only trying to show the good things about you, or trying hard to show a certain good part about you in the hopes that highlighting the good parts will hide the negative parts about you. That effort makes the negative part about you even darker and more rooted in yourself. And it becomes a thorn that permeates your spirit, permeates your mind, permeates your unconscious, you see. And so what you have to do then is confront those negative things about you, not through trying to fix them, but through asking yourself, what would it feel like if I accepted those negative parts about me just for 1 minute? You see, what would it feel like if I was okay with being this kind of person? What would it feel like? And just become curious about that. And also, by bringing awareness the times when you try to hide the negative things about you and try to highlight positive things about you. For example, I do this often. I'm practicing pickup. Pickup is approaching women, and I'm noticing myself telling women about my channel, and it's a habit I'm trying to break, because that habit is saying, if I tell her about my channel, that means she's gonna like me. You see, and most people will not notice that. Why? Because they think that they're confident. So as a result, they're not. Their minds, they're not aware enough or curious enough or open-minded enough to be willing to accept that there are bad things about you. Now the problem is that we think that just because you have a negative trait, that means you're bad. No, traits don't. How can I say this? Traits don't dictate your value as a human being. Nothing does. We don't have any value. Nothing takes away the value that you have. You see, because that same notion is a notion that says, okay, because I'm good looking, that means I'm more valuable than the next person. Because I'm less, because I have better tits, natural boobs. That means I'm better looking. You see, that same quality is the same quality is gonna say, damn, I once had big boobs, now I don't. I once was better looking, now I don't. So that one thing that made you happy now is making you sad. So compartmentalizing yourself is not being happy about a trait or being negative about a trait or accepting one trait or accepting the other, but accepting the totality of the experience of who you are. Not saying this is a bad trait or negative trait, but seeing the trait as it is and smiling at it. Noticing yourself hating yourself, noticing yourself being ashamed about certain parts of you and smiling at your body being ashamed, having compassion at your body because your body's trying to just be happy. Your body's just trying to be accepted. So rather than being mad about it, just know what your body's trying to do and just have compassion. Like, you know what, man, I know what you're trying to do, man. It's cool, man. It's cool. Like, I know I'm trying to hide the fact that I'm 5'8" on online dating, but it's cool. I'm 5'9". It's cool, you know. I know that I'm trying to hide the fact that, I don't know, like, fucking, I don't know, like, you know, like anytime you try to hide a negative trait, just see it. And just smile at it. You're like, oh, here you are, body. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to impress them. It's cool, man. It's cool. It's cool. And again, it's not about trying to improve yourself. That's not what we're doing here. Because before improving yourself, you first have to accept yourself. It's kind of like taking a shower. Before you put on some deodorant, take a shower first. And then put deodorant on. You're going to smell much better. You see? So compartmentalizing yourself is seeing all of the things that in yourself that you have. And putting it out there to everyone. Now, I'm not talking about to everyone, but I'm just saying to in your conscious awareness and not suppressing it. Noticing the parts that you're trying to forget and noticing the parts that you keep remembering, right? And just having an open and just noticing any times when you feel any suppression, like, oh, I don't want that. And just seeing it. You're not trying to change, you're just observing it. And then ask yourself, I wonder what's going on inside of me right now. And just bringing awareness to it. You see what I'm saying? So it's 5. So these are the five reasons why people don't love themselves. Judging yourself based on superficial social standards. To identify with your mind. Non-forgiveness. Trying too hard to be happy and compartmentalizing yourself. You see, bringing awareness to yourself and practicing mindfulness and being present in the moment will definitely improve that. And it will improve a lot of your relationships. All right. Anyways, this is Alex from mindfulattraction.org. I hope you guys have a good day. Bye-bye.